Hey Erin.
Hey Pete.
Welcome to Berrima Courthouse.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
I think this might have been one of the first places I met you.
I think so. Yeah, absolutely.
1,000 years ago.
I know, I love this place. I've been on many a tour here and now I'm
Working.
part of the working crew. It's lovely.
So, APPI have been running ghost tours at Berrima Courthouse. I don't know, maybe 2016?
Yeah.
That sounds about right. And we absolutely love the place. We love the Berrima Courthouse Trust who run the place. So a little bit of background on them. This building, although it's owned by the government, it's run by the Berrima Courthouse Trust, and they don't receive any money from the government. It's completely self-sufficient. So I always try and remember to say when I'm running my hunts here that their money is going towards the upkeep of this amazing building, because it is a piece of historic artistry, really, isn't it?
It really is. She's seen some action, this place, and the township itself is just a beautiful time walk experience.
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
It's one of the very few places that looks like it's hardly been touched by modern times.
Absolutely. You half expect a horse and carriage to come trotting down the street. It's amazing.
Or just people on horseback.
Yeah.
And we're lucky enough to run two different events in Berrima. So we run the Berrima Courthouse Ghost Hunts, interactive ghost tours, and Harper's Mansion, which is a National Trust
Another
property.
Beautiful place.
Yeah.
Absolutely lovely.
So we're here to speak about the courthouse tonight, though, and hopefully you can see behind us we have all the pews. The original front door was there. Off to the side, at the back, we have the female holding cell on this side. We have the male holding cell on this side. Both of them are extremely active. It just depends on the night which one is the most active. It sounds like tonight it was the female holding cell.
The female was really active tonight, yeah, definitely. We got EVP in there, we got scratching, we got audible scratching sound, and yeah, it was a really good night.
It's absolutely crazy. So this courthouse, it's got quite a diverse history to it. So it was designed by a really famous Australian architect named Mortimer Lewis, and he did it in a Gothic Regency style. And although building began in about 1835, it wasn't completed until 1839 when they ran their first Southern Assizes here. And it was used as a courthouse. It was actually the first courthouse in New South Wales to do a trial by jury.
Yeah.
And during its time, it actually held the trial of 12 convicted murderers, 5 of whom met their death by hanging at the jail just across the street. And we're actually going to, our spotlight tonight is of one of those.
Mr. John Lynch.
Mr. John Lynch, Australia's first serial killer.
Yes, he was.
Or was he? Or was he just... So, yeah, John Lynch. Tell us a bit about John.
So, John was a convict. He was an Irish convict that was sentenced to life here. There's a lot of errors in his sentencing, but essentially he was 19 years old, he was born in Ireland, and he was basically found guilty of obtaining goods under false pretenses.
Oh, right.
Interestingly, his father was also sentenced to basically having those goods in his possession, and they were both sent out here. They actually arrived on the same boat.
Oh, they had companions.
So, reading into that, it sounds as though John did something a bit naughty over in Ireland, and his dad paid the price. But it's hard to know. There's not a lot known about their family. He was when his father Owen was sentenced as well, he was a widower of 5 children.
Oh.
Yeah. So basically, they came out over here, and John immediately was assigned to what lifers were assigned to, which were really, hard labour gangs. He was in chains, he was doing all of that sort of stuff. Now, what we know is his dad didn't survive very long out here at all. His dad's passed away about 3 years after he arrived in Sydney, and he died at the Sydney Convict Hospital, which sounds an interesting place, and I don't even know where that was, but I'll have to look into it.
I know there was a convict hospital, Liverpool TAFE was a convict hospital.
That's right, it was. Maybe he died there, but they said it's the Sydney Convict Hospital. So basically he was a convict, and at some point they realised that he was very, very skilled with horses. So on his convict records, it had him and his father were ploughmen. So they could drive horses, they were very good with livestock, and they could drive livestock as well. And so that obviously came in handy here, and it was very much in demand. So he was essentially assigned to a farm because of those skills that he had. And his first report of trouble actually happened while he was a convict. So there was basically he and a group of other convicts murdered a man called Thomas Smith, and John Lynch ended up being acquitted on a very
on a whim
on a very lucky escape. Basically, the chief witness on the day went to give evidence and was in such a drunken state he was deemed unreliable, and the whole thing got thrown out. So he essentially very early on got away with murder. Then there was this sort of melee where he claimed he was attacked by a group of other convicts. He was injured. He actually had stab wounds, and they ended up being sentenced, and they were actually sentenced to death over this attack on him. But it was commuted to transportation. I think they were sent elsewhere in the colonies. John confessed the night before his execution that he had set them up and he had stabbed himself because they basically annoyed him.
Oh my God.
That's a great introduction to the type of guy.
What an asshole.
John was. Yeah, he really was an interesting fellow. And I don't know if he's here tonight.
She's so nice, isn't she?
Hopefully he'll set off some...
Yeah, John doesn't like us, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he likes anybody, and he certainly doesn't like to cooperate. But he's a very interesting character. So that's just the beginning of what he got up to in the colony. It's quite
We haven't even gotten to the juicy stuff yet.
We haven't even got to the juicy stuff. So at some point he absconds. He runs away from being a convict, and he's out on the loose, and he does basically a whole lot of things pretty much. So the first lot of things that he does is at Albury Farm, one of the farms that he is, that's where he murdered the convict. From there he went and visited Albury Farm again as an absconded person. He did this a lot. He went back and revisited sites that he knew.
Oh, like a typical serial killer.
Exactly. On the way, he met a couple there was a fellow, and he had a young Aboriginal child with him who must have been sort of helping him. I use that term loosely. He was probably being used as a slave.
Mm-hmm.
And he had a dray full of goods that he was driving for his boss into Sydney to sell. And John killed them using a tomahawk-like weapon, which is where he gets his reputation for being Australia's first axe murderer. So this tomahawk
axe murderer of Berrima.
The axe murderer of Berrima. And he basically takes their dray with all of the property. So the dray is a great big cart full of stuff, and he heads towards Sydney to sell everything. On the way, he literally bumps into the owner of that dray.
Oh my God, what are the odds?
That he's killed worked with this guy. And he comes up on the spot with this story of, they've been injured, he had to go off to hospital, I'm just helping him out. The guy goes, thanks so much, and lets him go on his way. But he's heading to Sydney too to oversee the sale. So John drives these horses day and night to beat him, sells the stuff, and gets out of town before he gets there. So what kind of person was John? He's described as being, we'll just pause and do the physical description. He was quite a short guy, 5'3". He was very muscly. Some described him as quite good looking, although his court drawings don't tell that story, even though he was very, very young when he was executed. He was only 29. when he was executed. But he had a way, and I think we're going to say this term a lot, but I think the way of sociopathic, kind of psychopathic personalities, he had the gift of charm, and apparently he was able to quick-witted, get to know them, and get their trust very easily. So keep that in mind as we go on. So that's the first thing, and he's quick-witted. He is actually quite bright. He comes up with stories on the spot, and he gets out of so much stuff. So these people are killed, and we move on with the story. The bodies aren't found. So he goes on. The next lot of murders he does is the Fraser murders, and this is again near Razorback. He meets a horse team being driven by a bloke and his son. The son's 20, so he's quite an old, this isn't a young kid at this time. And while he was there, they also had a cart full of goods. So I think John had a kind of theft going in his mind. Along the way, some constables turn up as they're camping out because he's befriended them and inquire about the other drays. So he's starting to panic. So he goes, I had to do away with them because they need too much. So
the constables?
The constables, he waited until they left, but the two men went, oh no, we haven't seen that dray, but they had. And so he waited until their backs were turned and he killed them with an axe. And this was a pattern that he did. He always waited until the backs were turned and then he would knock people off one at a time. So that's another 2 murders. He disposes of those bodies. Again, they're not found. We've got 4 dead people not found. And it kind of probably says a lot about how wild and untamed the surrounding area was back then, but yeah, they weren't found. And then we get to the most, famous murder was the Mulligan farm firm. Now, he knew Mulligan. He had done some crime with him earlier, and in his head, Mulligan owed him the proceeds of that crime. Mulligan was by now a ticketed leave, I don't think not free, but ticketed leave. Yeah. So he was free to have his property. He leased it off a person, and basically John paid him a visit and said, you owe me this money, you owe me about £30. Mulligan offered him £9. So John stayed at their house, went into town.
He was married, wasn't he?
He was married, so he had a wife and there were 2. There was an older son and a very young girl, 13. So there's 4 at that property, and the youngest was Mary, 13. John goes into town, buys some nice rum, comes back, and they're having a party, they're celebrating. So he's a guest in their house, they have dinner. He plies them with alcohol, saying, I was very careful about what I drank myself because I wanted my wits about me. And basically at that point he'd made up his mind to kill them as well. This is where John's kind of motives become really interesting. One by one, as they're distracted, in some cases, he's murdered one of the family members. The other family members are looking for this person because they're missing. He goes out and kills them.
Oh my God, it's like something out of a horror movie.
It is. It's like Friday the 13th with the accident in the woods. That's what he literally was.
Oh my God.
Is that you, John? I think he's here. Good. The person he kills is the daughter, and she's hiding in the house by this stage, petrified. And he said, I gave her what I didn't give her relatives, 10 minutes to say her prayers, and then he killed her.
I don't know what would be worse.
Can you imagine?
Oh my God.
But then the true kind of nature of John sort of comes out. He assumes control over that farm. He goes to huge lengths to make people think that this is his farm by right. So he even goes so far as to go into Sydney and post in the newspaper articles pretending to be Mulligan, saying, my wife's run off, I will not be held responsible for her debts. And it's posted in the Sydney paper. He goes and he does all of this subterfuge and eventually convinces the owner of the farm that Mulligan handed over the lease to him.
Oh my God.
So the owner of the farm goes, oh, fair enough, because he offers to pay a higher rate of rent. So the owner goes, fine.
Sure.
He then employs 2 people, including a housekeeper and a labourer, to help him on the farm. He's living the high life. And he's there for quite a while. He assumes the name John Dunleavy. In fact, when he's finally caught, it took them a while to figure out his alias and realise he was John Lynch. And it's just incredible. He basically makes off with his property and lives the life of Riley. And by now he would have acquired quite a bit of cash.
For someone quite young
He's
too.
really young. He's really young. So there he is. He's living the life of Riley on this farm, and then he does the final murder, which is Kearns Landrigan. And Kearns is the murder that he eventually got found. Again, he did away with the 4 mulligans on their property. He burnt them, he buried them. Nobody went looking, nobody found those bodies. So keep that in mind. So what's the body count now? 9. 9 bodies not found. When he kills Kearns, he hires him to do some fencing on this property that he's stolen. And he realised very, very quickly that Kearns was a very serious man. He was quite pious, he did not drink, and he was very much about saving money. And I think John got stars in his eyes then and realised I could steal a bit of him.
I can just see like a comic with like the dollar signs.
Pretty much in the eyeballs, literally. Scrooge McDuck, dollar signs,
yes.
you know. So he killed Kearns Landrigan, and his error in his haste to clean up what was a bloodbath, because he again used his axe, his favourite method of dispatching it. He grabbed Kearns' belt and threw it onto his dray, and that is what the police found that tied him to the murder, and that's what got him charged with murder, and they took him in.
Was there somebody with him? Did he have an accomplice? Because he was executed with somebody else.
Yeah, I don't think for that one he was, but I might be wrong. There's so much to his story, you can delve and delve and delve. I'm uncovering stuff all the time, so I'm trying to keep a bit of a big cache over everything. But what's interesting is when Kearns' body was found, he had the temperance medal around his neck, and that was the movement against the consumption of alcohol and all of that. They saw alcohol as evil, so he must have been a very serious man.
Pious, boring.
So John Dunleavy, as his name was then, as he was calling himself, gets taken in and he's charged. And it takes the police a little while, but they realise they're dealing with John Lynch. He's tried, he's found guilty, and he is sentenced.
Right in this courtroom.
Right, yeah. And I've got some of his sentencing. You can see his full sentencing is online. If you ever wanted to read it, it's quite full on. I will read bits of it, but before I do that, on the eve of his execution, he confesses, and he confesses to a magistrate, and that is when they realise that he's killed all these other people. And apparently he gave his confession with a lot of glee. He was gloating. He talked about he hired the 2 people on the farm because they were simpletons. He talked about praying to God for guidance before he killed people and getting some sort of sign from God. Look, a lot of that kind of just makes me roll my eyes, really, because there's a lot of, I guess you could sort of look through various lenses, particularly crimes are sold at the time when they didn't have mental health and they didn't have a whole lot of services that we know today. But he was a bloater and he was an opportunist. And I think he was very, very smart, and he could lie on the spot and be very, very convincing. There was also a degree of planning with everything he did. And he was, that kind of takes it out of that impulsive, out of control category. He was very much in control. And I don't know if you're listening, John, but I think if you existed today and you had the opportunities to access education, you'd probably be the CEO of a Fortune 500 or something like that, but you'd own Amazon or something. You'd steal it off Jeff Bezos, you know. Oh, that was loud. Where did that come from?
Somewhere behind us.
Oh, you might be here listening. So look, his death sentence, what the judge said, very colourful. He was, and considering it was on the eve of his death that they realised that he'd actually killed 10 people, but he was actually only sentenced to death over Kearns Landrigan. So the death of Kearns Landrigan really sort of marked his downfall, and I think he realised he had nothing left to lose, so that's why best, but he basically told the police where all of the bodies were, and they found the bodies. There's actually a memorial plaque in the Sutton Forest.
Are you
cemetery.
hearing that as well? Did
I
you
heard
see that one?
That was back there. That was like a thump. So to read a bit of his, what the judge had to say, I'll read you a little bit. Too much praise cannot be bestowed, not merely on the magistracy and the police, but on the inhabitants of the neighbourhood in unravelling the dark mystery of Landrigan's death and bringing his blood home to your doors.
So dramatic.
The wily cunning, the artful devices, the blustering impudence which so long sustained you in the pursuit of a lawless life can no longer serve your turn. The crisis is arrived when you must prepare for that fate which is ordained by the laws of God and man for blood guiltiness. It's just a taste of how the judge kind of, and I'll end. The dreadful duty imposed on the judge is now to be performed, and that is to announce the doom of death.
The doom of death.
The sentence of the law is that you be taken hence to the place from whence you came, and then to be taken to such place on such day as His Excellency the Governor shall appoint, and hanged by the neck till you are dead, and may the Lord have mercy on your soul.
It's like something out of a movie.
It is, isn't it? But it's quite a long sentence, so I've just kind of get to. But have a read. It's online and it's very, very.
We'll put a link to it in the description in YouTube.
So yeah, John, I don't know if you're here tonight, but bang on something. If you thought that sentencing was a little bit harsh. I don't think it was really.
That was nowhere near.
His crimes were pretty awful, actually.
Absolutely horrific. Erin has lost her mind. So welcome back. We have the wonderful Suzanne Kennedy. Suze has been in APPI for 13 years. She is the go-to girl for everything. You will, if you've been to our events, you will have seen Suze predominantly in the spiritual vigils. She is a witch, not a bitch, a witch.
Sometimes.
She's a high priestess, and she has had some significant experiences here at Berrima. So she is our APPI special guest tonight. Welcome, Suze.
Thank you. Thanks, Pete. Thanks, Sarah.
Welcome.
Now's the time where we start to talk about paranormal experiences we have had here. There have been so many. Like, I've stopped kind of talking about them at our events because I could be here all night just talking about them. We've found that this place really goes in a cycle. So we might have 4 or 5 months of hardly anything happen. And then it slowly builds up. And 1 month we might have a few things happen that we can't explain. Then the next month, even more. And then it'll be like this crescendo of paranormal experiences that happen in the final month. And then there won't be anything for another 4 months. It's just mind-blowing. And we've just noticed this pattern, haven't we?
Yeah.
Because you've been coming to Berrima for as long as we've had it.
Yes.
And yeah. So we'll talk about some of the things we've had, then we'll go through your experience and a little bit about you.
Yep.
Okay. So, I'm just trying to even think where to bloody start. The doors. The doors. Now, maybe it's not a good one to use because I always have difficulty trying to explain this because it sounds so convoluted. But as is often the case, unfortunately, a lot of what happens to us paranormal-wise happens after the guests have left. Hate to admit that, but it's true.
Thank you.
He agrees.
And this particular night, while the guests were here, I'm trying to remember why we were looking in. Oh, it was at the beginning of the night. We'd brought all the guests into the courtroom. We'd gone around in a full circle. So you leave the base camp, you walk through the judge's chamber, you walk down a corridor into the jury room, From the jury room, you walk into the male holding cell, then from the male holding cell into this courtroom. And so we had the guests in the courtroom, all of them, and I just happened to glance through the male holding cell and I saw that there was a door closed. And the really ironic thing about this door was we had never closed it, to the point where I didn't even know it existed because we'd never used it. And it was a door that basically led from the male holding cell to outside, really. It's where they would have brought them in from the jail across the street. And this door was closed. So I looked at my guys, I kind of interrupted my own tour, and I looked at my guys and I said, why is that door closed? And none of them could say why this door was closed. It was just a weird, like even Suze didn't realise there was a door there. It was a bit crazy. So anyway, we continued with the tour, and I think quite a few things might have happened that night, like quite an active night for the guests. Then they all left. And after they'd left, we sat there and we started talking about this door again. And we're like, but who closed it? Didn't even know it existed. Nobody would fess up that they'd closed this door. And we knew it wasn't one of the guests because it's always us last coming through. So I said, let's go for a walk around. Let's go for a walk around again. So we all got up and I was leading and we walked around and we came inside and we glanced and the fucking door's closed. And I said, who closed that door? And Linda said, oh, it was me. And we're just looking at her and we're going, why? Why did you close the door? And Linda says, because Suze told me to. And Suze is like, what? And she's like, I was already in the courtroom. I was next behind Peet. I was already in the courtroom. And Linda's like, no, you were in front of me. And you turned around and you said, shut the door. And Suze is like, no, I was second. I was behind Peet. I was already in the courtroom. So we thought, well, let's do it again. So we went around one more time and we go all the way around again. I'm first. Come into the courtroom, look in there, fucking door's closed. This time we're like, all right, who closed it this time? And Jono says, oh, that was me. But he just looked with a, oh yeah, that was me. And we're looking at him in absolute disbelief and we're like, why? Why did you close it? You know that this is a thing and we've been talking about it. Why would you close it? And he says, because Linda told me to. Linda was like, I did not say a word to you. I did not say a single word. Then Jono, who is the most placid, friendly, loving guy, got angry because he thought we were calling him a liar. And he said, no, you turned around and you said to me, shut the door. And we had to cool him down. We're like, Jono, we're not calling you a liar. We're just trying to figure out what the hell's going on here. So I said, all right, we'll go one more time. One more time. So we walk around, and this time we might have been going a little bit slower. Well, I wasn't. So as we're walking down the corridor to head to the jury room, I was already in and through and into the courtroom. And I said, all right, guys, remember, if you hear the words, shut the door, and what I was about to say is, if you hear the word shut the door, let us know that you've heard it. But as soon as I said shut the door to the jury room slammed shut in the face of Karen. She screamed, we screamed. We didn't know what was going on. And we just can't figure it out. It was like, I was a doppelganger that was mimicking voices and appearance by the sounds of it, but doing it so well, nobody realised until we were talking about it.
Yeah.
So that was absolutely huge. Excuse me. One more time, thank God Erin was recording this time. And I play this recording at the start of our tours. And we were all sitting in the seats at the back there. And I think you just played the national anthem or the God Save the Queen or...
I did, and I also remember that it was a really edgy night. You talked about it being a crescendo here.
Yeah.
It was definitely moving up. We were getting that feeling of activity. and I had the urge to record. That's the only reason I was recording, because nothing really was happening. We were just sitting around talking.
Yeah, and it was probably like 1 a.m. or something by this stage as well.
Like, we were literally just chatting and wrapping up.
Again, there were no guests here for this. It was just us. It was just us. We all, every single one of us, heard an audible voice of a man saying, clear as day, all rise. Now, what blows our mind is that is exactly what the clerk of the court will say when a judge enters the courtroom, and the sound that we thought it came from was the door.
It definitely came from this area here, and that is exactly where the clerk of the court would have stood to get the judge or the magistrate in. And you have to stand up when that happens. So that was amazing, and it was a human voice.
It was a human voice.
Tone.
It wasn't an EVP. I'm going to play it for you in a second. I'll play it. I'll put it in this. Yeah. All rise.
What the hell was that? Did that actually come from the front? I thought it came from out the back.
Now that's only two. That's only two of, I would say, 50? Easily 50 significant paranormal occurrences that we've had happen here.
All audible too. A lot of them, not all, but a lot of them are audible. And
we've had possessions. We had 2 possessions on one night, and I mean full on. People had no idea what was going on, had no control over their own bodies. It's another video that I play at the start of our tours. You should come. I'm not going to play that one
don't
because
play it. You've got to come along.
You've got to come along to see that one because it's our favourite.
It happened over there in the female holding cells.
But let's now talk about, like, Suze has been involved in a lot of the ones that we've had happen here, has been involved, but this particular one was aimed directly to you, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. Certainly was.
Tell us.
Okay, so we were doing a Ouija board session. Sometimes we don't get them out with guests because they're a little bit scared, I guess, of them.
Of a piece of cardboard and plastic.
Cardboard, yes, exactly. But the guest asked if we had one, so we got one out. Anyway, we were sitting just in the courtroom, and it kept on saying leave. It kept on spelling out leave. And we just presumed it was us as a group kind of thing. So we were just saying, okay, yeah, fine. Who do you want to leave? Do you want us all to leave? Then it started spelling out burn the witch. And like, you can't, miss that one. That's directed. Yeah, exactly. And so I said to everybody, is there anybody here who you think is being spoken to? No one answered.
So no one was a practice of pagan or anything?
No. And so that's when I said, well, I actually am a witch. Are you talking to me? And it spelt yes. Not just the yes that's on there. It spelt yes. So then it just kept on saying leave. So we just said, okay, all right, I think it might be time for us to wrap this up and we'll move on. So I kind of didn't think much more of it. It's just like, I kind of get the attitude, well, I'm not leaving, so suck it up. Didn't kind of think anything. That was back in the days when we had coffee and tea, kind of halfway in between the vigils. So I went and put the kettle on in the kitchen that's at the back there. Was walking the kettle through to the base camp. Now, it had boiled while I was standing there, and I took the cord out and I took the whole kettle. The lid was down, and I walked through the jury room.
The judge's chamber.
Sorry, the judge's chamber. All of a sudden, the kettle, it was almost like it exploded. The lid flew up, the water just went like that from the kettle, and I wore it. And lucky
Boiling water.
Boiling water. And lucky it was cold, and I'd had lots of layers on, and it didn't burn me. But I didn't think much more of it, and I went into the base camp. I said, bloody hell, I'm soaking wet. The kettle just literally exploded on me. And then this is when these guys said, burn the witch.
So was it a warning or a threat, I wonder? That's a good point.
Yes.
Might have been someone saying, be careful.
Be careful, yes.
While you were talking, that candle has gone absolutely berserk. It's flashing on and off constantly. Yeah, just while you were talking about that.
Okay.
Burn the witch.
Is it you that was telling me to get out?
Yeah, look, it's gone.
The other one seems to have parked it.
Is it?
Was it fully charged?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were both fully charged.
The IR light died on me tonight, and that takes forever.
Yeah.
And they were all fully charged, dead. Another thing that happened to me tonight. So I was in the jury room. This is probably the only. There's a couple of things that happened tonight, but this one, I was in the jury room. It was the end of the night. It was the free time. So Suze had run outside, and my guests had left the jury room, gone through the male holding cell, and were in the courtyard. Why do I keep calling it that?
Courtyard.
The courtroom. And the other guests hadn't finished yet, so there was still Erin's guests in the female holding cell and Jax's guests in the base camp. And I told Suze, you go to the toilet, I'll pack up the dowsing rods and pendulums. So I'm there on my own, who cares, packing up each individual pendulum into its little bag and making sure everything's put away, when I hear on that back door that leads out. And I kind of just...
From outside?
Yeah. So I kind of walk over. I look through the male holding cell, nobody in there, and then I could see the 4 that we had in the final vigil in the courtroom, looking at the jury, our lovely mannequin jury.
It's very freaky mannequin jury. Yes.
So that was pretty interesting. But Suze, so for those who might be interested in paganism, Wicca, you're a pagan. You practice.
Yes.
How did you get into that? Because that is closely linked to your love of the supernatural and paranormal.
Yeah.
Big bump at the back end.
Didn't even notice.
I didn't even hear that. Wow. Hello. I think from an early age, my first paranormal experience was probably when I was about 11 or 12. And my mum taught me how to read tarot and do numerology. So I've always kind of been
I never knew that.
Yeah.
That's important.
So it's in my family, kind of, yeah. Mum probably hasn't touched tarot cards for a long time, but you ask her to do anything with numerology and she can do it like that.
Yeah, she's got a brilliant brain.
Yes. So I think it's just always been in me. It's always been in my blood. So, yeah.
And how did you first find, to learn? Did you teach yourself about paganism? Did you join any covens? Are they called covens? I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's all self-learnt. I think a lot of it was just my intuition kind of stuff that I followed. I've done a lot of online courses, probably about 15.
I heard that.
That was loud.
And I felt the floor vibrate.
Wow, I didn't even feel that.
Oh, and you're in between us.
And I'm in
The gentleman.
sorry. Creepy. Yeah.
Tell us about your business.
Okay, so I have a small business called Magic Happens Witch Parties. Thank you. So what that entails is you book a party, you get 4 or more of your friends, and I come to your place, and we do a whole heap of witchy stuff. So it
is actually bloody brilliant, very entertaining. It's a good girls thing. Lots of fun. Suze brings all of the stuff that you need.
Yep, so dedicating a candle, I'll teach you make your own pendulum and I'll teach you how to use them. We do a protection jar, and then I can teach you, well, we can go through everything from tarot and oracle, runes, safely use the Ouija board, how to do seances, whatever kind of you want to know more about. I can, delve into kind of for you.
This is what I love about APPI. We've got so many diverse things in APPI. We've got so many people that have different interests.
Yeah.
We've got a psychologist. We've got a correctional officer. We've got a witch. We've got and there's so many more that I haven't even mentioned. We've got an architect. Yeah. Then we've got a policy officer. That's exciting.
Still very bright.
Yeah, lots of I'm hearing that as well.
That was really loud. Suze, what's your favourite thing in terms of getting in touch with, I guess, the paranormal side? What's your favourite tool to use out of your kind of
Out of my repertoire.
specialty? Yeah.
It's kind of hard because it's like pendulums will be my favourite for ages because they seem to work, and then all of a sudden it's not that you get bored of them, but then you discover dowsing rods, or then you go into something else. So I don't think there's a favourite as such.
But you like those very physical, not so much the toys of the paranormal.
Yes, yeah. I'd much rather people sit there and listen and feel something.
Yeah.
And you get a lot of them on these kind of things.
Yeah.
It's good.
We had 16 guests tonight, and every single one was fascinated with the mirrors scrying, was fascinated with the pendulums, loved the dowsing rods. It was just, really good.
Yeah.
And mirror scrying goes back such a long time.
Oh, it does. I mean, bloody ancient Egypt and stuff, they did mirror scrying, didn't they?
Really? That far? Oh my
Look,
God.
I may be making that up.
They did. Yeah.
See, I knew that.
And
My
the
innate
old-
knowledge.
The old crystal ball, I mean, when you think about, every culture has that kind of equipment in their history.
Yeah.
Of some
Think
kind of
about it.
scrying.
Yeah, some kind of scrying, whether it's
Water,
candle,
fires,
fire.
Yeah.
Doing it again.
The candles are certainly there.
Yes, yeah.
So, Suze, what's your favourite APPI venue?
Oh,
Even
goodness
ones that we
me.
don't have anymore.
Even
Like it
ones-
can be. Where's your favourite?
My favourite. I still think Parramatta Jail. I think
Good, isn't it?
yeah, but it's just got. I think it's because it's so big.
Yeah.
Berrima court's in session. Attention, judge is about to come into the chamber. We need everybody present, ready for court today. If there's anybody here who needs legal representation, they have to speak to a lawyer. Please make a noise. If you haven't spoken to a lawyer or you don't understand why you're here, please make a noise and let us know. Copy me? If you don't understand why you're here today, please make a noise. If you need help with paperwork, with reading and understanding why you're here, make a noise. If you think your details have been entered incorrectly, make a noise. Say something.
Okay.
From the male holding cell, I could just hear talking. Speak up.
Come and speak into the microphones.
Otherwise, you'll get in trouble.
Ooh, bang. Did you hear that?
I can hear a rustling or something.
Yeah, there is rustling back there. You need to be louder.
Suze is like, I can't hear anything.
I'm seriously not hearing any of that.
Can you make that thump a little bit louder?
Was that just a thump that came from the back room?
Yeah.
Can you come into the courtroom and make that thump?
Oh, I heard that. That was right here.
That was 2.
That was right here.
Did you hear that one?
Yes, I did.
That was like
Bang, bang.
bang bang.
But it's kind of like right behind it.
This is the sort of fun that we have in the court. And if one of these move,
I know, one day.
I'm leaving you. I'm running out there. I'm going to leap over the table.
Everything's going to go flying.
Like, look at this dude leaning over.
Oh no. If he falls,
I hadn't noticed this guy here because of the light.
he is gross, isn't he? I know.
And I only just noticed him a little.
I don't know if you can see him on the camera, but he's got the biggest caterpillar eyebrows.
I love the eyebrows. Whoever did the eyebrows is making his reach just too far. One day they're going to move and I will lose my mind. So is there anybody here that needs help? Very quickly, the judge is almost here. Court's about to be in session. This is your last chance. I felt that.
I felt that too. Now, that may not have got picked up, but there was just a real resonating thump.
I don't want to say it, but it came from over there.
If you've picked up something we've missed, again, leave it in the comments. Leave it in the comments so we know. We'll go back and look. What the hell was that?
That's moving. Who's moving? Come closer.
Just as we talk about the jury.
Unless mannequin.
Don't. The female holding cylinder.
We have so many other stories to tell. More spotlight of inmates. We've got Lucretia Dunkley, the whole Dunkley thing. We've got lots more paranormal stories that we can share, like the doorbell, the kitchen.
Yeah, kids.
We got lots. So we're going to come back here. I mean, we're back here every month anyway, so we'll just do another one here or two.
Even on bushrangers.
You've got the bushranger one that you want to do.
Yeah.
We can also talk about the 5 executed people.
Yeah.
Like do a one whole podcast on that. You got any ideas of anything you want us to actually focus on? We'd love that. I've got some more equipment on the way as well. I love supporting small business and I'm starting to buy quite a bit from Etsy. Now, the only issue I have is it takes so long to arrive because it's all from overseas and the postage is normally ridiculous. But yeah, I've got some interesting things coming in, which we will play with as well in the future.
Fantastic.
All right. Well, another episode. Thank you so much for joining us, guys. And I thank you, Suze, for coming. And thank you, Erin, once again for being such a good researcher.
You're welcome.
And we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.